Good evening and thank you for being here. I know it's a holiday for two sets of people, but you're here. Good. So let's do what we have to do. Now, what if? What if? As long as I'm alive, I'm if. Period. What if? Forget it. We are our own creators. We do things. Now, I asked a question before, how come if it's in us, it doesn't come out unless somebody helps us? Because we're full of debris. We're full of impurities that's holding us back. And these impurities that hold us back sometimes put us in a comfort zone at that level. And this is the sense of awareness we have. You know, to say we're aware, what level are we aware? Of what level? There are many senses of awareness, so be careful. Many senses of awareness. There'll come the day when there'll be a plug put at the end, and that will be the ultimate awareness. It is not here yet. We have other work to do before we get it. So let's do what we have to do. So to learn what not to do is harder than to learn what to do. There's a structure for such a thing. And the structure is too much impurities that prevents us to understand the simplicity of what's ahead of us. Now, it looks as if we started, that is, chiropractic started somewhere on a very incomplete, narrow road. And it was when DDS, this minister, who understood Greek, to give him a name. So he gave him the name chiropractic, which means to do by hand, one hand. And it reminds me that we were nothing more than a one-arm paper hanger. That's all we were. We used two hands, not one hand. So it's high time, as I told you last week, to get a new name. Now let's use a script that's universal. Not a script that belongs only to the Greeks, or to the Iraqis, or to the Iranians, or to the Japanese, or to the Chinese. These have all their own scripts. They're isolationists. They are not universal. You recognize it was the Romans that gave us a universal script. With that script we can read Polish, anything that is not beyond all old script. It gave us the universal script. And from there, it gave us, via the Italians, which are Romans, music. Oh sure, it started with this, that, and the other thing, but it evolved. And if you go to Japan and you are going to play with their orchestra, their music matches our music. But at one time, the Japanese, even though they had the same notations for music, and all the other nations had their own pitch. And so sometime, I believe it was in 1930, when they all got together and they made a universal pitch. And the C of here is the same C if we go to England, we go to Japan, we go any place that plays music. And this was all done via music that came from the Italian, which really came from the Romans. Now I know the Romans did many things that were not so wonderful. And that's all we seem to talk about. But let's give the Romans the credit that's due them. They gave us a script. They gave us the laws that we use today in our courthouses, based upon them. Just how advanced these people were. And these were the people that the God Almighty, not Jehovah, but God Almighty, called upon to tear down the old so we can bring in the new. Which was the duty of the Jehovians to do, or the Israelites. They refused to do it. So let's look at things the way they should be. Even the Romans have to go. Did we have a tremendous earthquake in Italy lately? And you know what? That is the hometown of my dad. Yeah. Abruzzi, L'Aquila, they call it all different names. L'Aquila means the eagle. And that has to go too. And I recognize it. It's a rule. It may be cruel, but it's the rule. And I know it may sound cruel, but it is for our advancement toward spirituality. If Aguila didn't get broken down, we can never proceed. And there'll be plenty of other earthquakes. And people who live in the desert are nomads, meaning people without a place that's permanent. They love to wander. And that too must go. Everything must go. Are you ready for a change? And I'm not speaking of the change that Barack Obama is asking for, because what he's asking for is the same old system we have now, corporate systems,